I want to share with you some very exciting information tonight that will probably knock your socks off. It did when I heard it, and I'm going to share this with you tonight. We're in a very tumultuous time right now in our economy, and so it's incumbent upon all of us to really develop our own financial freedom and take care of our health so that we can, make the very most of every day that we're here. So let's go ahead. And first of all, I'd just like to introduce you to this industry that we're going to talk about tonight. This industry is growing at a very quick pace. It's right now over $381 billion industry globally, and it's bigger than ever before. But it's expected to keep on growing by an average of $32 billion each year for the next 8 years with no end in sight. So we got a huge potential here as people are making shifts into the wellness industry, and we know why they're making this shift. I don't know if you're a baby boomer. Those are people born between 46 and 64. We've got an aging population that's looking for natural solutions. They're more health conscious, and they're shifting their buying patterns. They're not happy with the pharmaceutical drugs and the side effects that come with that. When you look at traditional supplements, they're not really solutions, because a lot of the supplements that we've been taking, we're not even able to digest most of them. They're not scientifically put together. They don't break down well in our system. So many times people don't even get any results from the products or the supplements they take, or the very inconsistent results. And so we want to introduce you tonight to an exciting new pathway called quantum nutritional strips. And we want to teach you how to strip legally here. And that's what we believe is the future of supplementation. And you can see the lady putting a strip on her tongue. And what happens when you take one of these quantum nutritional strips from NRG Wave, it absolutely absorbs in about 10 to 11 seconds in the mucosal area of your mouth. It dissolves right into the bloodstream. It does not go into your stomach, not into your gut, that passes through into the liver and the kidneys, but you get that very measurable dosage and it's consistent results. This is what we call advanced nutrient delivery. And the first product that I want to introduce you to tonight, you may not know how important this is, but tonight I hope to be able to at least open your mind to the thought process of nitric oxide and why we call it the molecule of life. Better blood flow. What happens when that occurs? More energy and stamina, faster recovery, cardiovascular support, and sharper cognition. My wife and I were watching a podcast, and when I saw the information that this medical doctor was sharing on this podcast, so let's tune in to Dr. Nathan Ryan.
The future of medicine and healthcare around the globe is going to be dependent upon this.
Dr. Nathan Bryan is the biochemist whose cutting-edge research suggests
how one crucial molecule can impact our health, brain function, and longevity.
That molecule is nitric oxide.
Nitric oxide is a signaling molecule in the human body, which regulates things like blood flow and oxygen delivery. And the loss of nitric oxide production is the earliest event in the onset and progression of age-related chronic disease. So things like erectile dysfunction, diabetes, Alzheimer's, high blood pressure, which is the #1 driver of cardiovascular disease, which is the #1 killer of men and women worldwide. And 50% of the patients that are treated with prescription medication don't respond with better blood pressure because they aren't targeted toward nitric oxide. But most people have never heard of this. They don't know that if you can't walk up a flight of steps or exercise moderately for 15-20 minutes, then you're nitric oxide deficient. They don't know that most toothpaste and mouthwash is killing the oral microbiome that's partly responsible for production of nitric oxide, but no one is interested in curing human disease because medicine is a business. So what we're finding is that the older we get, the less nitric oxide we naturally produced. And now today, that's recognized as the earliest event in the onset and progression of age-related chronic disease. So my mission is to inform and educate the global population on how important, number one, what nitric oxide is, how it's produced in the human body, what goes wrong in people that can't make it, and then perhaps most importantly, how do we prevent that age-related decline in nitric oxide production so everybody can be empowered to take control of their own health and prevent age-related disease. And that's what the science tells us, but as you illustrated, most people have never heard of this.
I mean, this graph, which I'll put on the screen for anyone watching, kind of illustrates what you're talking about. And quite notably, this decline seems to start when you're 30 years old, which is how old I am right now. So,
well, that's if you look at population-based studies at different age groups, we see about a 10 to 12% decline in what we call endothelial function per decade. So that means, nitric oxide is a gas. It's produced in the endothelium. So the endothelium is the single layer of cells that line every blood vessel throughout the body. So the function of these endothelial cells is to regulate vascular tone and to regulate, solute exchange and extravasation or transport of molecules across that endothelial layer. And so when your endothelial cells can no longer make nitric oxide gas, they no longer dilate, so the blood vessels become constricted. You start to get inflammation, you get stiff arteries, plaque deposition, and that's what starts cardiovascular disease or atherosclerosis. Nitric oxide is a hormone that we first discovered. Nitric oxide is a hormone back in 2007. But to understand aging, you have to understand what leads to aging. So aging, from my perspective, is the inability to repair and replace dysfunctional cells. Right? Every day we wear ourselves out, and we just gotta. And if we can repair and replace dysfunctional cells, then we combat, or at least prolong, the aging process. So what the science tells us in nitric oxide is that loss of nitric oxide production is the earliest event in the onset and progression of age-related chronic disease. So nitric oxide is the foundational longevity molecule because nitric oxide is the signal in the body that tells our stem cells to mobilize and differentiate. Mm-hmm. Without nitric oxide, you have less number of circulating stem cells. Nitric oxide activates the enzyme telomerase, which prevents telomere shortening. Without nitric oxide, you don't get activation of telomerase, telomeres shorten. And then nitric oxide is the signal in the cell that tells the cell, I need more mitochondria, and I need these mitochondria to be more efficient, generate more cellular energy with less oxygen. So when you restore nitric oxide, you address all three aspects of longevity. And there's no other molecule in the body that does that.
This whole process of manufacturing nitric oxide in our body, we know that all cardiovascular disease, and I focus on that first word, all, because we have to understand the number one killer of all people on the planet is cardiovascular disease. And all cardiovascular disease is associated with nitric oxide loss. So he talked about erectile dysfunction. He talked about diabetes, high blood pressure, all these events. It's because we are low on nitric oxide. It's indispensable for our cardiovascular health. And of course, he also shares how we can stop the aging or slow the aging process down by getting more nitric oxide into our system. But as he stated, and you can see at the age of about 23, our level is perfect when we're about 23. And after the age of 23, it declines naturally. The red line is women, the blue line is men. So you can see this is not just a male problem or a female problem. It's both of us. And by the age of 40, our bodies have lost 50% of the nitric oxide production we had when we were in late teens and early 20s. And if you're age 65 or more, your body has lost more than 85% of the nitric oxide production it needs to prevent aging and disease. And so this is extremely powerful. What NRG Wave has put together is a very simplistic way for you to be able to raise the nitric oxide levels in your body by using a quantum nutritional strip. This wasn't available 20 years ago or 15 years ago, 10 years ago. This is something available now where they've been able to reduce the size of the molecule down into the size of a water molecule, so you get that direct absorption into the bloodstream, no digestive interference, faster, stronger, better effects, higher bioavailability, and you can feel the results in minutes. This is powerful, and I wanted to share that with you tonight because I think so many of us have friends around us that are dealing with challenges. And right now, it's so easy for us to see that many of these challenges are directly related to low levels of nitric oxide. And you say, well, how do we know? Well, you can buy a simple test kit. We bought one, and these you can get them at the Walmart or your local grocery store a lot of time. These are nitric oxide test strips. They're salivary strips, and they will tell you what your nitric oxide level is in the body. And then you can use our product. You check your nitric oxide levels, and you see the increase. So it's very powerful. These quantum nutritional strips are proving to be super absorbable. So you take pills and gel caps and all these other things that a lot of people are taking right now. They're not getting the absorption. It's not getting into their system the way it needs to. This is why we're moving off the old model. Think about pills and gel caps. They've been around for decades and decades. Nothing's changed. And now finally we have these quantum nutritional strips here from NRG Wave that are really making a difference. And you can see on that bottom blue line with intraoral absorption of the strips is over 90% absorption rate. So this is powerful. So this is a great way to raise your nitric oxide levels and restore your stem cell and your endothelial action, and also what's going on with your cardiovascular system. So really important information. The second foundational product is what we call our Phyto Pro Max. This is based on marine phytoplankton. If you've never heard of phytoplankton before, it's the first food on the planet. These are little wee, like algae kind of single cell beings that are basically they're taking in the sunshine and giving off oxygen, but they're packed with vitamins, minerals, all essential amino acids, omega-3s. It functions as a complete nutrient supplement that supports cellular health, energy, and immunity. And what these Phyto Pro Max strips do is they replace the need for multiple pills. The phytoplankton is such a tiny size that allows for easy absorption, making it highly beneficial for overall health. So this is our new multivitamin now, and I was so excited to get this and get away from many times synthetic vitamins or vitamins put into capsules. This is a powerful way to get that. And just so you're aware of what's in the phytoplankton, it's rich in omega-3s, as I mentioned, the highest source of EPA and DHA in a vegetarian, vitamins and minerals packed with essential nutrients like magnesium, iron, zinc, calcium, potassium, phosphorus, got antioxidant power like chlorophyll, vitamin C, immune support, is important for us, skin health, and cellular function. So you put these two products together, the Phyto and the Nitro, it really is all about synergy. So what we're dealing with when we talk about phytoplankton is the planet's greatest, most powerful multivitamin. It carries the mother load of nutrients that our bodies need to survive and thrive. Two simple products that are efficient and powerful, utilizing this quantum strip technology, which is precision engineered using quantum infusion technology, ensuring that over 90% of each ingredient is absorbed, giving your body more of what it needs when it needs it. NRG Wave wants to be known as a strip company, introducing this technology into various kinds of products. And of course, whenever you have a product like this, you want to get it out to the world. You could advertise, put it on the top of a store shelf somewhere and hope somebody notices it, or you can work with peer-to-peer or word of mouth or the network marketing industry. And that's exactly what happened here. They said, let's share this with the network marketing industry and let's reward people as they share it with others. And we've got somebody exciting with us tonight. I believe that Charles is here. Great to see you, Charles. And I know, you're one of the great leaders here at NRG Wave, been one of the forerunners putting this message out. We're really excited about working together with you, Charles, and I'm excited about what you're experiencing. I know you've got a lot of experience in this industry, and I want to hear about that in a few minutes, but can you kind of help us understand what happened for you using the NitroMax here with NRG Wave?
It's a couple of things that's happened now since I've been taking the product for a couple of weeks. First, I'm real in tune with my body. I felt a sense of well-being. I felt a better realm of sleep. Several of my leaders know I'm an avid pickleball player. So what I would do is start taking the nitric oxide about an hour before I play. And man, I could just see the steady, prolonged energy. I seem to be better focused. I can just tell that it's allowing me to, to do things better. One of the great things that I had somebody else to say is that it feels good to have a peace of mind that I'm doing something for my heart health. Probably about 15 years ago, I had my younger brother. We were in a Bible study and he actually died of a heart attack right in the church.
Thank you, Charles, for sharing that. Can you come on in and share a little bit now? Let's talk a little bit about the reward system. And I know you've had a lot of experience in the industry. So let's talk about how this reward system, what sets this reward system apart. And I can show the screen here and go through a couple of the slides together. But can you speak to the reward system here at NRG Wave?
Absolutely. Been very gifted at looking at compensation plans. And I always like to say you can tell a lot about a company by how they choose and plan on compensating you. And in the simplicity, it usually take me a week or two to break down a comp plan. And then you've got to do some stuff to make it where it's easy to share. But right now, as I'm talking to people, and I'm loving to have a backup with this every order bonus, because the first thing, if you just have a plain binary, or we can call it 2 by infinity, then most people cringe on that. But when I'm able to talk about this every order bonus to where you combine a unilevel, and the great thing that stood out, and I had to call Eric back on this. I said, Eric, you mean the fast start, that first bonus that you get when you order? I said, you mean that's every month, every time they order? And when he said, yes, sir, I said, oh my goodness. Because it fills that gap when you've got people, especially I like to call them beginning networkers, that when they can't balance the binary or it's a little too confusing, but when they're earning income while they're learning, it's amazing. And now I can go out to influencers and people who may be confused initially. Now they can start earning money with every order that they sell or invite people to. And then the fact that I can tell people that they can earn money on their first level without spending any money. I'm just excited about all aspects. And like you said before, it's encompassing all three of the parts of compensations in the history that have made people the most money. When you talk about the unilevel, it's made people millions of dollars, some of the biggest money earners, closely followed by the binary. But then the matching bonuses, and most leaders, if you look at their compensation plan that are making the big monies, they're usually making the monies, most of it, a big percentage of it is in their matching bonuses, which is unlimited in this compensation plan. So it's got the big three. Is simple. There's no hurdles. Strong for the beginner or the little guy, and it's real attractive to the heavy hitter, as they call it. So it's just so fair that I'm excited, and I get re-excited when I talk about it.
Now, thanks, Charles, and I think you made some great points there. Now, how are you helping people get started? What are you finding here to help people get started? What's the best way for people to get started here with this pay plan so they can maximize it?
What I like to do is I kind of reverse how I would want to be approached, but I've been calling up people and saying, look, I've got something very, very interesting and potentially lucrative that I want you to see. On our relationship, would you take a look at some videos? They're pretty short. I like how you keep this one concise, but I've got a page that has, some of the videos. It has some of your recordings on it. And if I can get them to look at one of Dr. Marty's recorded calls, and then get them to maybe look at an overview, a recorded webinar that you've been doing. There's two aspects to this. I really want you to know about the product, but there's a no-cost way to get positioned, and it's a win-win. So just tell me what you think about it. And that's what I'm doing. I don't want to do anything that's so acrobatic that they think that they can't do it. I share a page that we have that has, I call it a hub, that has a lot of the information. It's got a list of what you have on one of these charts on a lot of the benefits on the Phytomax and the Nitro Max. That's all I'm doing, sharing the good news.
Yeah, and I think it's great that people can get, like you say, they can sign up for free, so there's no cost if you want to get enrolled, and you can start sharing the product. But I like the price point here, Charles, where people started with their first product. $49 qualifies them in the pay plan. Is that how you see it?
That is one of the best asks, because those are when I'm looking at a company, I remember when Eric called me, I said, my question is always, what's the price point? What does it cost to stay active, to max out the comp plan? And both his answers was $49 for the person that want, and then $49 to max out. I like to jokingly say that this is in a realm, 49 under 60, including shipping. I don't even have to have a family meeting to do this one, Rob. I can, man, honey, I'm ordering this, But, these $200 and $300 programs, that's their minimum. So I got to come in and kind of work my way into saying, hey, we're going to order this. But yeah, that price point is amazing.
I love it. So not a big buying decision. And then I know we're working on a lot of components right now, putting this wave system together. And there's a lot of stuff happening in the new year that a lot of people are going to have support. So that if you've never done this business, Charles, I think it's important that we be able to invite new people who've never been in this kind of a business before and really help them have an exciting experience and a rewarding experience.
They're upgrading the shipping process. And this all is coming about from how we are putting a little pressure on the system. And so there's some activity out there. When I get leaders, some of the guys that's on that are out there now, and I'm on the call, it's one thing to think you see something, but it's another thing to get leaders of this caliber. And like yourself, it's like, wow, now you got something.
Well, I think you touched on another great point, and that is the timing right now. Just talk for a second. How important is timing in this industry, Charles, and getting a head start before everybody else knows about it?
Just look at any of the businesses out there. The people who got in and really went to work early, they're usually the ones at the top of the chart. So that's where we are now. You always be on the call saying, man, I wish I'd have found out about this at the beginning. I wish somebody would have called me. I wish I knew about it then. So to be right here is amazing. So I like how you emphasize that.
Yeah, well, I think this is the curve for everybody. If you've never seen this before, this is typical of timing and momentum. And what Charles is talking about, this is the wave that is about to occur, and we're positioned before the wave, which is exciting. So we're going to ride this wave all the way to the top. And of course, when it comes down to decisions, do you have any clues for people, Charles, to help them get started? Or how do you encourage people really to take advantage of this timing that you're talking about? How do we get people to take advantage of that?
Yeah, and I want them to kind of move like just what you're saying here in where they are. I just openly say, hey, where are you now? I love saying, have you seen enough? Do you like enough to take a free position? Do you want to try the product? And it's usually just right there. I mean, if they've looked at something and they're having a conversation, they're right there. And so I just kind of close and sell the way I want to be closed. And they'll say, okay, like you said, 1, 2, or 3. Hey, I'm in. I like this. Hey, I'm ready to order the product, and I move with where they take me.
And I like that approach because we're not trying to be pushy. We're not trying to get people to do something that they're not open to doing. We're providing direction for people who really want to make a change, whether it be in their health or their wealth. And that's the beauty of this business. We can combine both of them together, have a lot of fun together. And one of the things I like to think about, Charles, is the power of community. It's that, so much of our lives right now, we're supposed to be so connected, but we're really disconnected as people. And I think this is powerful. I just so enjoyed talking with you and the camaraderie, the synergy, the ideas begin to flow. This is the power of community. Can you talk a little bit about, that social community that we have here in this business?
That's one of the things that's been so attractive with me about networkers. Some of my best friends since high school and college have come from the networking industry. Just that socialization, and you're running into people that just love to build things, to love to build income. And then, man, I can just see us meeting and vacationing. And, it's just a wonderful thing. My wife said to me, I'm hoping this is another good one, because when you're doing well in the industry, we start vacationing and we start meeting new friends. Hey man, I'm looking forward to it, because this is getting exciting.
Yeah, that's fun when you get to meet a lot of people in an exotic location. So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be a blast. I think 2026 is going to be a phenomenal year for us all here. So if you're here tonight, you haven't made the decision that Charles talking about. I love what Charles said. Just you can take a free position if you want, and get yourself in there, look around, and then when you're ready, order the product and begin experiencing the benefits of the product. And then what you're going to want to do is you begin experiencing the energy, the cardiovascular benefits that Charles was talking about earlier with the Nitro Max. You're going to want to share it with other people. And when you do, there's rewards for you. And so we're so happy to have you here with us tonight. We're excited about our future in 2026. I hope you're set.